Hey everyone, it's Burgandy and this is my September wrap-up. The first book that I read this month was The Vane Chronicles by Cassandra Clare, Sarah Rees Brennan, and Maureen Johnson. The Vane Chronicles is a story about Magnus Vane from the Shadowhunters series in a version of short stories. It is very good, although there were a couple stories I had a hard time getting into purely because I have not read The Infernal Devices yet. I know, it's on my TBR. I'll get there. But anyways, it was a very good story, and if you have read The Infernal Devices and you are caught up on the series, you will probably still love it. Magnus Vane is one of my favorite characters from the series, and I could not wait to read it. I'm so happy I did. I gave this book a 4 out of 5 on Goodreads purely just because I did struggle with some of those stories. Speaking of Shadowhunters, the second book I read this month was Lord of Shadows, also by Cassandra Clare. This is the second book in the Dark Artifacts series. Continues the story of Emma Carstairs as well as the Blackthorn children, and it's oh my gosh. Clarissa Clare writes one book and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so good, and then she writes another one and it's just like, oh my god, this one's better, and I can't wait for the third one. And if you have not started this series, you should, because even though some people dog on the Shadowhunter series about, oh, she just keeps creating more and more, they're different stories and they intertwine in a way, but they're good. I would understand if they were crappy books, but these are good. They're good, they're just so enticing and entertaining, and I think everyone should read it. I definitely gave this book a 5 out of 5 stars. The third book I read this month was a historical fiction, A Paris Apartment by Michelle Gable. This is a historical fiction about an apartment that was left abandoned pretty much for 70 years, full of old furniture and basically artifacts from the late 1800s from a courtesan or an escort. It's about a woman named April who is a appraiser, and she goes to this apartment to help appraise things, and then she finds the journal from the woman who owned the apartment, and then she just goes on this rabbit hole of learning more about this woman as well as learning more about herself and making her own revelations. And it's a great story, although I did have some trouble with the ending, especially the last quarter. It just seemed a little lackluster to me, and I wasn't really happy with the final conclusion. But it was a good read, and I'm sure other people have their own opinions about it, and to others, it's a great book, I'm sure. I assume. I do like it. I don't know if I would read another book by her. I may, but her other one, the synopsis for her other book reminds me of Mamma Mia. But it was definitely a good read, and I believe I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. That was my September wrap-up, and you should look out for my October TBR that should be coming up in the next couple days. I hope to see you soon. Bye.